The Zeitgeist Movement.
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 I get calls all the time saying Zeitgeist, Zeitgeist.
The Zeitgeist Movement.
The Zeitgeist Movement.
The Zeitgeist Movement.
Global Zeitgeist Movement.
And some people are like, the Zeitgeist Movement? What the hell is that? And I'll be just like, here, this movie, watch it, or here, this book, read it, read it, read it. My name is Serf Duisborg, and I'm a supporter of the Zeitgeist Movement. This means that I try to get the ideas of the Zeitgeist Movement out there. I do this by talking to people on the internet, by talking to people all around me, but also by organizing different events and sometimes, occasionally, do a lecture. We think it's the socio-economic structure itself. The rules and the things that are in place in our socio-economic system itself pressure us towards all these problems. And the problems we just saw, like the poverty and all of the things that I just showed, are mere symptoms of a system that's actually outdated with the current state of affairs and actually the Earth as itself. There's one conclusion that we can draw, and that is that we will get global abundance of resources. And this is a big changer because the current system needs scarcity and is based on scarcity, and now, because of this approach, we have global abundance. The term that we can put on this is a natural law resource-based economy, NLRBE for short. What it is basically a scientific method applied to social concern. Doorgaan op een mogelijke transitie. Het is heel moeilijk om te omschrijven hoe het zal moeten gaan, want er zijn zoveel factoren. Pieter Jozef heeft een kleine indicatie gegeven. En waar we nu zijn is half fase 1, half fase 2. Maar het belangrijkste voor de hele beweging en waarom de beweging bestaat, is het bewustwording te creëren. Van het huidige systeem, hoe het werkt, hoe het eigenlijk niet werkt en waar we naartoe kunnen. I got into the movement probably like most people did after watching Zeitgeist Addendum. And for me this movie was very different from all the other documentaries out there, because what most documentaries do is they criticize and create awareness about different problems, but rarely do they offer a solution. And Zeitgeist Addendum did offer a solution, and that in a very radical way. And on top of that, the ending of the movie also suggested some different stuff that people could do in form of activism. And the last part was join the movement.
And 6, join the movement. Go to thezeitgeistmovement.com and help us create the largest mass movement for social change the world has ever seen. We must mobilize and educate everyone about the inherent corruption of our current world system, along with the only true sustainable solution, declaring all the natural resources on the planet as common heritage to all people, while informing everyone as to the true state of technology and how we can all be free if the world works together rather than fights.
So I think from that point on the movement was born. And like most people, I had a lot of questions and I was very critical of some of the stuff that was in the movie, because I was like, okay, how do we get there to that type of society, and what can we do about it, and is this even possible? So many people were discussing all of this stuff, and I remember that different radio shows were hosted at the site, lectures were given, and eventually the third movie, Zeitgeist Moving Forward, came out. And I think that this movie just answered many of these questions and many of the problems that people had with this stuff. And it also gave the whole movement a better focus and made it more clear of what it was about.
Let's imagine for a moment we had the option to redesign human civilization from the ground up. What if, hypothetically speaking, we discovered an exact replica of the planet Earth, and the only difference between this new planet and our current one is that human evolution had not occurred. It was an open palette. No countries, no cities, no pollution, no Republicans, just a pristine, open environment. So, what would we do?
So eventually I met more and more people, and after a while we started to collaborate and start the Dutch chapter of the Zeitgeist movement. And the great thing about the Zeitgeist movement is that it has chapters all over the world. Because now I'm actually studying and I am on my exchange here in Singapore now. And when starting here in Singapore, I met different people from Singapore that were actually interested in the Zeitgeist movement as well. And the Singaporean chapter was also very active here. So I met these people as well, and I got together with these people, and eventually we organized events and spread these ideas even further. Zeitgeist is actually literally translated the spirit of the age, which means that it's the dominant paradigm and train of thought that we have in a particular time. And what are your values? What do you think is valuable today? What do we act on, and what do we move forward with? That is like the zeitgeist we are in today. And movement entails that we want to have change, or a movement away from actually the current paradigm, the current zeitgeist, because the zeitgeist movement thinks that the paradigm we are in now is not that sustainable. Actually, it is a sustainability advocacy group. We want to move towards a more sustainable future. While I'm active here now in Singapore, I still try to keep in contact with the chapter back home in the Netherlands, but sometimes the time difference makes it a bit more difficult.
Hoi zo.
Hallo. Een soort Z-idee houden, zeg maar. Of,
Ja, het is een soort van Z-idee, alleen dan zonder de presentaties van wat Zeitgeist precies is, maar meer inhoudelijk van hoe wij zelf opereren. Dus projecten hebben en zo, en dat je met je zelfstandig dingen moet doen. En misschien nog een research team die zeg maar dingen gaat onderzoeken hoeveel het kost om bijvoorbeeld Amsterdam self-sustainable te maken. En dat dan zo gedetailleerd mogelijk uitzoeken. En dan dat je dat gewoon naar de gemeente stuurt of regering. En dan zegt van, ja, wat vind jullie hiervan?
For me, the ideas of the movement can be separated into 3 different themes: the problem, the solution, and the transition. Currently, we have different types of problems, ranging from poverty, inequality, crime, and unemployment, to resource depletion, pollution, biodiversity loss, and climate change. These problems have been around for years, but are now becoming more and more prominent. The reason why we do not have solved these problems yet is that we do not fully recognize that the problem is not some corrupt corporation, bad policy, or a flaw of human nature, but that the root cause of the problem is the socio-economic system itself. And the problems we see today are just symptoms, born out of a system that is outdated and disconnected from the planet and the people on it. The system is based on 2 concepts: scarcity and consumption. The scarcity results in competition and in turn leads to the inequality that we see in the world. And because the market economy requires infinite growth in order to sustain GDP and jobs, we consume resources at a near exponential rate, which leads to the resource depletion and the climate change we see today. Fortunately for us, we now have the knowledge and the technical capability that our system no longer needs to be based on scarcity. We can actually focus our effort in making abundance a reality, and thus shifting the outcomes that come with it. Simply put, with abundance as a basis for our society, we will automatically try to preserve this abundance, leading to collaboration, preservation, and unification of the planet's resources. The system will then reinforce the creation of an excess abundance in the most sustainable way possible, focusing on optimum design, automation, and the most up-to-date knowledge of science and technology. The model could be termed a natural law resource-based economy, which is the scientific method applied to social concern. The only question remains, how do we get there? At first, I thought that this idea is something that is impossible and could only be termed a utopia. But I soon realized that growing up in a capitalist society where competition is promoted and money is valued more than anything, makes any alternative seem like a utopia, because I had been conditioned to believe that this system was the best and the only one possible. But the way I see it now, I feel that having a society which is based on infinite growth on a finite planet is the utopia, something that will never work. So the first thing that needs to happen is a value shift. A realization that we not only can move in another direction, we have to. And for this, the Zeitgeist movement exists. We try to create awareness about the current socio-economic system and how it is structurally flawed. We try to create awareness about a new model that takes care of the planet and all the people on it. And we try to create awareness about how we can move towards this new type of society. With this awareness, we can then look at effective measures that work towards the creation of abundance. Personally, I think a good first step would be to implement a universal basic income, to release some of the pressure of the need for constant consumption and the increasing unemployment due to automation. With a basic income in place, it then becomes possible to promote development of abundance-creating technologies like automation, 3D printing and vertical farms. With the help of the government, it will be possible to build vertical farms in an area and make food freely available for the people in that area. Using this method, we can create abundance of food and eventually move to other sectors like energy, production, transport, etc.
This train of thought is extremely self-evident. And the goal is not to convince anyone of these understandings, but to set up the condition for them to realize it for themselves. You don't impose, you set it up, and if anything is really true, then we all should have the capacity to realize it on our own without feeling imposition.
Sounds crazy, right? Maybe I am. But in the words of John Lennon, you may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one.